Smart People Habits, 25 Keys to Become Smarter. Every day, written by Peter A. Saul and published by Audiobooks LOA. Introduction, the Smarter Everyday Philosophy minus the philosophy. So you want to be smarter every day? Forget what they told you about needing a PhD just to tie your shoes. Most of the time, that just makes you good at writing papers nobody reads and owing a ton of money. Smarter isn't about your diploma. It's about not being the last one to get the joke, or the first one to get scammed. It's about your brain actually working for you, maybe even making you some cash, or letting you flex a little without sounding like a total know-it-all. And here's the kicker. It's mostly about habits. Yeah, habits. Those little things you do without thinking. This book isn't some magic pill. It's 25 keys, 25 habits that actual smart people do, probably while you're still scrolling through cat videos. No overnight miracles here, just stuff you gotta do, consistently. So, want to know the habits of people who aren't, well, constantly tripping over their own shoelaces? Let's get to become smarter every day. 25 Habits of Smart People. Part 1, the Foundational Mindset and Learning Habits, or How Not to Be a Know-Nothing. Chapter 1. Key number 1. Be nosy as hell. That's how you learn stuff. Seriously, why isn't the sky green? Why do cats land on their feet? Ask why like a 5-year-old. On a sugar rush. Curiosity didn't kill the cat, it made it smart enough to figure out where you hide the treats. Never stop learning things, even if it's just why your Wi-Fi sucks. All right, let's cut the crap. The absolute bedrock, the ground zero of not being a dimwit. Be nosy as hell. Yeah, you heard me. Stick your metaphorical nose into everything. If you just drift through life accepting whatever nonsense is spoon-fed to you, you're going to stay exactly as smart as a bag of hammers. Probably dumber. Hammers are useful. Think about it. Why is the sky blue and not, say, a lovely shade of puke green? Why do cats always land on their feet like tiny furry ninjas while you trip over air? Why does your Wi-Fi signal decide to take a vacation every time you actually need it? Most people just shrug, complain, and move on. Don't be most people. Remember when you were a kid, you drove adults nuts asking, why, but why, like a broken record? That wasn't you being annoying, okay, maybe a little. That was your brain, firing on all cylinders, desperate to figure out how this crazy world works. What happened? Did you get shushed so much you just gave up? Bad move. They say curiosity killed the cat. Bull. Curiosity taught the cat where the good tuna is hidden, how to open the damn door, and which humans are suckers for a purr. That cat's not dead, it's thriving, probably on your favorite armchair. Curiosity is a survival skill. It's an upgrade, so when something puzzles you, don't just let it slide. That little itch in your brain, scratch it, Google it, ask someone who might actually know, find a book, whatever. The point is to never stop learning things, even if those things seem trivial. Who cares if knowing why your toast always lands butter side down doesn't make you rich? It makes your brain work. It makes connections. It stops you from being a passive blob. This is one of those foundational smart people habits. They don't just know stuff, they're driven to find out stuff. They see a closed door and wonder what's behind it. They hear a weird noise and investigate. They're not content with just because. So, your first mission, should you choose to accept not being a clueless wonder, is to reawaken that inner 5-year-old. Ask the questions, poke the bear, metaphorically, unless you're into that. Be insatiably, relentlessly, gloriously nosy. It's the fuel for the whole damn getting. Smarter engine. Don't leave the gas tank empty. Chapter 2. Key number 2. Stop thinking you're stuck being dumb. Think your brain's set in stone. Wrong. That's quitter talk. You can actually become smarter. Your brain is more like Play-Doh than concrete. So ditch the, I'm just not good at this crap. So you aced being nosy in Chapter 1, or at least you're trying. Good. But now we hit the mental wall a lot of folks build for themselves, the idea that you're just, well, as smart as you're ever gonna be. That your brain power was set at birth, like your eye color, or your unfortunate tendency to snore like a freight train. Wrong. Dead wrong. That's quitter talk, pure and simple. It's the excuse people use when things get a little tricky, when they don't want to put in the effort. Oh, I can't learn that. I'm just not a math person. Or coding. My brain doesn't work that way. Or understanding politics, too complicated for little old me. Bull freaking hockey. Listen up, because this is important. You can actually become smarter. Your brain isn't a chunk of concrete that got poured when you were 5 and is now permanently hardened. Think of it more like Play-Doh. Yeah, Play-Doh. You can squish it, roll it, mold it into new shapes. Every time you learn something new, every time you struggle with a problem and finally crack it, you're reshaping that Play-Doh. You're building new connections, new pathways. It's called neuroplasticity if you want to sound fancy at parties. But brain Play-Doh works just fine. The folks who tell you intelligence is fixed are either trying to sell you something or they're just repeating old-fashioned nonsense they heard from someone else who was probably trying to sell them something. Or maybe they're just lazy and want an excuse for not trying. So that little voice in your head that whispers, "You're not smart enough for this," tell it to shut its stupid face. That voice is a liar. It's the voice of intellectual laziness. The moment you start believing you're stuck, you are stuck, but it's a cage of your own making. Ditch the "I'm just not good at this" crap. Seriously, burn it, bury it, launch it into the sun. Instead, try, "I'm not good at this yet." Or, "This is challenging, so I guess my brain's about to get a workout." See the difference? One is a dead end, the other is a doorway. This isn't about some fluffy self-help garbage. It's about how your brain actually functions. Challenge it and it grows. Let it get comfortable and lazy and it stagnates. It's one of the fundamental keys to become smarter. You have to believe improvement is possible before you'll even bother to try. So stop acting like your mental horsepower is capped. It's not. You have the ability to upgrade. But you gotta ditch the fixed mindset first. Your brain is ready to get stronger. Are you? Chapter 3. Key Source 3. Read. No, seriously read. Like actual books. Yeah, you gotta read books, not just tweets or the back of a cereal box. Fiction makes you less boring and teaches you words. Non-fiction lets you drop knowledge bombs in conversations. But transferring knowledge by reading means actually thinking about what you read, not just letting your eyes glaze over. Yeah, you heard me. In this age of TikTok dances and 15-second news clips, I'm telling you to pick up a damn book, not your Twitter feed, not the ingredients list on a bag of chips, unless you're really into polysorbate 80. I mean actual, honest-to-goodness books. The kind with pages, or at least the digital equivalent that doesn't try to sell you a new vacuum cleaner every 5 minutes. Why? Because you gotta read books if you're serious about not sounding like a broken record repeating the same 3 phrases. It's one of the most fundamental habits to become smarter. Let's break it down. Fiction. Think reading stories is just for kids or nerds. Wrong. Fiction is like a secret weapon. It makes you less boring, for starters. You get to live 1,000 different lives. See the world through other people's eyes. That builds empathy, which, believe it or not, is a sign of intelligence. It also massively expands your vocabulary. You learn new words without even trying, just by seeing them in action. Plus, if you read a lot of dialogue, it almost feels like you have friends, which is a nice bonus if you're, a bit of a hermit. Non-fiction. This is your ammo dump for dropping knowledge bombs in conversations. Want to sound like you know a thing or two about history, science, how the economy isn't completely made up, spoiler, mostly is. Non-fiction is your ticket. It's how you go from nodding vaguely when someone mentions the Byzantine Empire to actually having something mildly interesting to say. This is the key to being able to casually drop interesting facts without being a total show-off. But here's the real kicker, the part most people miss. Transferring knowledge by reading isn't just about letting your eyeballs scan words. That's and called looking at a book, not reading. If your brain is in neutral, you might as well be staring at a wall. You have to think about what you're reading. Ask yourself questions. Does this make sense? Do I agree with this idiot? How does this connect to that other thing I read, saw, experienced? Argue with the author in your head. Highlight stuff. Take notes if you're feeling particularly ambitious. If you finish a chapter or even a whole book and can't remember a single damn thing a day later, you wasted your time. Your brain just said, "Cool story, bro," and immediately tossed it in the mental recycling bin. You need to give your brain a reason to hold on to the information. Chew on it, digest it. Reading isn't passive, it's an active engagement. It's a workout for your mind. The more you do it and the more actively you do it, the sharper you get. So, less scrolling, more page turning. Your future, slightly less clueless self will thank you. Chapter 4, Key number 4. Shut up and listen for a change. Most people just wait for their turn to talk. Don't be most people. Actually listen. You'll absorb more, look smarter, and people might even like you. It's one of those smart people habits that's surprisingly rare. Yeah, I said it. Zip it. Button your lip. Put a sock in it. Whatever your preferred cliche for stop flapping your gums, do that. Because here's a harsh truth. Most people are terrible listeners. Absolutely awful. They're not actually listening to what the other person is saying. They're just waiting for a gap, a pause, a breath, so they can jump in with their own brilliant, or usually not so brilliant thoughts. Don't be most people. Think about the last conversation you had. Were you really listening, or were you just formulating your next sentence in your head? Were you absorbing what the other person was saying, trying to understand their point of view? Or were you just looking for an opportunity to talk about yourself, your experiences, your opinions? Be honest. Actually listening, and I mean actively listening, is one of those smart people habits that's so damn rare, it's practically a superpower, and it's key if you want to get smarter. Why? You'll actually absorb more. Shocking, I know. If you're not busy planning your rebuttal or your next anecdote, you might actually hear and process the information being shared. People drop useful tidbits, interesting perspectives, and sometimes even solutions to your problems, but you'll miss all of it if your brain's in transmit mode instead of receive. You'll look smarter, even if you're not yet. People who genuinely listen come across as more thoughtful, more intelligent. When you can accurately reflect back what someone said or ask a relevant follow-up question, see Chapter 5, it shows you were paying attention. It shows respect. And people tend to assume respectful, attentive people are smarter than babbling egomaniacs. People might even like you more. This is a big one. Everyone wants to be heard. When you truly listen to someone, without interrupting, without making it all about you, they feel valued. And people tend to like people who make them feel valued. It's not rocket science, but it's amazing how many folks screw this up. So, how do you do it? Make eye contact, but don't be creepy. Nod, make little sounds, but don't overdo it. You're not a bobblehead. Ask clarifying questions if you don't understand something. Shows you're engaged. Resist the urge to interrupt with your own story, unless it's directly relevant and brief. Try to understand the feeling behind the words, not just the words themselves. This isn't about being a doormat and never speaking. It's about making the times you do speak more impactful, because you've actually processed what's going on around you. It's about learning from every interaction, not just waiting for your turn on stage. So, practice it. In your next conversation, make a conscious effort to just listen, really listen. It might feel weird at first, especially if you're a chronic interrupter, but the payoff, in terms of knowledge gained, connections made, and just generally not being an annoying conversational partner is huge. Shut up, listen, learn. Chapter 5. Key number 5. Ask questions that don't make you sound like an idiot. Is this going to be on the test? Is a dumb question. Ask stuff that digs deeper. How to become smarter involves asking questions that actually lead to answers, not just blank stares. Good questions are a shortcut to understanding. Let's be blunt. Some questions are just plain dumb. They reveal a lack of thought, a desire for the easiest possible answer, or that you haven't been paying a lick of attention. Is this going to be on the test? Classic. It screams, I only care about the bare minimum to pass, not actually understanding anything. Don't be that guy. If you genuinely want to know how to become smarter, you need to learn how to ask questions that actually lead somewhere. Questions that dig deeper, that challenge assumptions, that uncover new layers of understanding. Good. Questions are like a crowbar for prying open the lid on complex topics. They're a shortcut to real learning, not just rote memorization. Think about it. When you ask a shallow question, you get a shallow answer. Is this hard? Answer, yes, no. Not very helpful, is it? What's the answer? You might get the answer, but you won't understand why it's the answer. But when you ask a powerful question, you force yourself and others to think. Instead of, is this hard? Try, what are the most common challenges people face when learning this? Or what foundational concepts do I need to grasp before tackling this? Instead of, what's the answer? Try, can you walk me through the process of how you arrived at that solution? Or what are the underlying principles here? See the difference? The first set is about getting a quick fix. The second set is about building genuine understanding. These are the keys to become smarter. Here are a few types of questions that will make you sound less like you're phoning it in. Clarifying questions. So, if I understand correctly, you're saying X, Y, and Z. Or could you explain what you mean by specific term? These show you're listening. Chapter 4, remember, and trying to get it right. Probing questions. Why do you think that is? What evidence supports that idea? What would happen if we changed variable? These push beyond surface-level statements. Connecting questions. How does this relate to another concept, topic? Is this similar to what happened with different situation? These help you build mental bridges and see the bigger picture. What if questions? What if the opposite were true? What are the potential downsides of this approach? These encourage critical thinking and exploring alternatives. Asking good questions isn't about trying to stump people or show off how much you think you know. It's about a genuine desire to learn. It's about being actively engaged with the information, not just passively receiving it. When you start asking better questions, you'll notice a few things. First, you'll get better answers that actually teach you something. Second, people will start to see you as more thoughtful and engaged. Third, and most importantly, you'll find yourself understanding things on a much deeper level. So next time you're in a situation where you need to learn something, pause before you blurt out the first thing that pops into your head. Think about what you really want to know. Formulate a question that will actually get you there. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. But mastering the art of the intelligent question is a massive leap forward in your quest to not be an idiot. Part 2. Optimizing your brain and body for peak performance, because your brain isn't just floating in a jar. Chapter 6. Key number 6. Flex your brain muscle. It's not just for show. Exercise your brains daily. Puzzles, learning a new language, trying to understand your taxes. It all counts. Your brain gets flabby if you don't use it. And yeah, it's easy actually once you get started. Don't let your IQ be the only thing you try to increase. You go to the gym to work your biceps, right? Or at least you tell people you do. You lift weights, you sweat, your muscles ache, and eventually they get stronger. Well, guess what? Your brain is a muscle too. Not literally, you pedantic nerd, but it works on the same principle. Use it or lose it. Let it sit idle, and it gets flabby, slow, and generally useless, like that Ab Blaster 5000 collecting dust in your garage. So you got to exercise your brains daily. This isn't about sitting around hoping for a sudden bolt of genius. It's about actively putting your brain through its paces, making it sweat a little. What counts as a brain workout? Pretty much anything that makes you think in a new or challenging way. Puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, logic puzzles, those infuriating little metal things you're supposed to untangle. They force your brain to find patterns, make connections, and think strategically. Learning a new language. This is like a full-body workout for your brain. New vocabulary, new grammar rules, new ways of structuring thoughts. It's tough but incredibly rewarding for your cognitive flexibility. Learning a new skill, playing an instrument. We'll get to that later. Coding, learning to juggle, figuring out how to build that IKEA furniture without leftover screws. Anything that requires focused attention and acquiring new procedures. Trying to understand your taxes. Okay, maybe this is more like mental torture. But hey, if you can figure out the tax code, you can probably figure out anything. It definitely requires problem-solving skills. Reading challenging material. Don't just stick to easy beach reads. Pick up something that makes you furrow your brow and reread a sentence. Philosophy, complex science, dense historical texts. They all give your brain a good stretch. Debating respectfully. Engaging in a thoughtful discussion where you have to defend your points and understand opposing arguments is a fantastic mental exercise. The point is to push yourself beyond your mental comfort zone. If it feels easy, it's probably not much of a workout. And here's a secret. Yeah, it's easy actually to get started. You don't need to enroll in a quantum physics course tomorrow. Start small, do a daily crossword, download a language app and spend 10 minutes on it. Pick one thing and don't get hung up on your IQ score. That's just one number and it doesn't tell the whole story. You're trying to increase your overall cognitive function, your ability to think critically, solve problems, learn quickly, and adapt. An IQ test is a snapshot. Daily brain exercise is the ongoing movie of your mental growth. Your brain wants to be challenged. It thrives on novelty and problem solving. When you stop challenging it, it starts to atrophy. So, make a commitment. Dedicate a little time each day to flexing that brain muscle. It doesn't have to be hours. Even 15 to 30 minutes of focused mental effort can make a difference over time. Think of it as mental hygiene, like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't go days without brushing your teeth, I hope. Don't go days without giving your brain a good workout either. Keep it sharp, keep it engaged. Keep it from turning into mush. Chapter 7. Key number 7, sleep. It's not for the weak, it's for the smart. Getting enough quality sleep every day is non-negotiable. Think you're tough for pulling all-nighters. You're just making yourself dumber. Sleep is when your brain takes out the trash and files the important stuff. This is one of those habits that benefit you the most. In our hustle harder, grind 24/7, sleep when you're dead culture, skimping on sleep is often worn like a badge of honor. Oh, I only got 4 hours last night. I'm so productive. No, you're not productive. You're an idiot. A tired, inefficient, and probably very grumpy idiot. Getting enough quality sleep every day isn't a luxury. It's a biological necessity, especially if you're trying to become smarter. Think you're tough for pulling all-nighters, fueled by coffee and sheer willpower? You're not tough. You're actively making yourself dumber. You're sabotaging all the hard work you're putting in during your waking hours. Here's the deal. Sleep is when your brain does its housekeeping. It's not just off time. It's critical processing time, taking out the trash. While you're awake, your brain cells produce waste products. During deep sleep, your brain has a nifty system that clears out these toxins. If you don't get enough sleep, these toxins build up, leading to that lovely feeling of brain fog, making it harder to think clearly, focus, and learn. Filing the important stuff, memory consolidation. Remember all those cool things you learned reading, Chapter 3. or the new skills you practiced. Chapter 6. Sleep is when your brain sorts through the day's experiences, decides what's important, strengthens those neural connections, and transfers memories from short-term storage to long-term storage. No sleep, no proper memory filing. You'll forget stuff faster than you learned it. Problem-solving and creativity. Ever slept on a problem and woken up with a solution? That's not magic. During certain stages of sleep, particularly REM sleep, your brain makes new and unusual connections between ideas, which can lead to creative insights and breakthroughs. Emotional regulation. Lack of sleep makes you cranky, irritable, and more prone to stress. A well-rested brain is better at managing emotions, which means you can think more rationally and make better decisions, instead of flying off the handle at the slightest provocation. This isn't just fluff. The science is clear. Chronic sleep deprivation hammers your cognitive functions: attention, memory, decision-making, reaction time, creativity. All of it takes a nosedive. So how much is enough? For most adults, it's 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, not just 7 to 9 hours tossing and turning. That means consistency. Go to bed and wake up around the same time, even on weekends. Yeah, I know, buzzkill. Dark and cool environment. Your caveman brain likes it dark and a bit chilly. Limit caffeine and alcohol. Before bed, obvious, but often ignored. Put away the screens. The blue light messes with your melatonin production, the hormone that tells your brain it's sleepy time. Prioritizing sleep is genuinely one of those habits that benefit you the most, not just for your brain, but for your overall health. Stop viewing sleep as wasted time or a sign of weakness. It's an investment. It's a performance enhancer. It's what smart people do because they understand it's essential for operating at their peak. So, turn off Netflix, put down your phone, and go to bed. Your brain will thank you by actually working properly. Tomorrow. Chapter 8. Key number 8. Eat like you give a damn about your brain. Choose healthy foods to eat. Garbage in, garbage out. If you fuel your brain with crap, it'll perform like crap. You want to be smarter every day? Stop eating like a raccoon in a dumpster. This one seems like a no-brainer, pun absolutely intended. You wouldn't expect a Ferrari to run smoothly on cheap, watered-down gas and a handful of dirt, would you? So why do you expect your brain, a machine far more complex and incredible than any sports car, to perform at its peak when you're fueling it with sugary drinks, processed junk, and whatever questionable leftovers you found at the back of the fridge? The mantra is simple. Choose healthy foods to eat. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out scenario. If you shovel crap into your body, your brain is going to perform like crap. It'll be sluggish, foggy, and about as sharp as a butter knife. You want to be smarter every day. Then you need to stop eating like a raccoon, rummaging through a dumpster behind a fast food joint. Your brain is a hungry beast. It makes up only about 2% of your body weight, but it guzzles down a whopping 20% of your daily calorie intake. And it's picky about what kind of calories it wants. It craves specific nutrients to build cells, make neurotransmitters, those chemical messengers that let brain cells talk to each other, and protect itself from damage. So, what kind of brain food? Are we talking about healthy fats? Omega-3s are your BFFs. Your brain is literally made up of a lot of fat, the good kind. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in things like fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds, are crucial for building brain and nerve cells. They're essential for learning and memory. Antioxidant-rich foods fight the brain rust. Your brain is constantly working, and that creates byproducts called free radicals, which can damage brain cells over time. Think of it like mental rust. Antioxidants fight these free radicals. Load up on colorful fruits and vegetables, blueberries, the classic brainberry, dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, oranges, red grapes. The more colors, the better. Whole grains, slow and steady energy. Your brain needs a steady supply of glucose, sugar, for energy, but not the quick rush and crash you get from a candy bar. Whole grains like oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa, and whole wheat bread provide a slow, sustained release of glucose, keeping your brain fueled and focused for longer. Lean protein, building blocks for brain chemicals. Protein provides amino acids, which are the building blocks for neurotransmitters. Good sources include fish, lean poultry, beans, lentils, eggs, and Greek yogurt. These chemicals affect your mood, focus, and ability to learn. Water. Don't let your brain shrivel. Even mild dehydration can mess with your concentration, memory, and mood. Your brain needs water to function optimally. So, drink up. What to avoid, or at least cut way back on. Sugary drinks and processed sugars. Hello, energy crash and brain fog. Trans fats and unhealthy processed fats. Bad for your brain structure and function. Highly processed foods, often loaded with sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients that your brain really doesn't appreciate. Eating for brain health isn't about some restrictive, miserable diet. It's about making smart choices consistently. It's about understanding that what you put on your plate directly impacts what happens between your ears. So, next time you're reaching for that greasy burger and fries or another can of soda, ask yourself, is this helping me get smarter, or is this raccoon food? Your brain deserves better. Feed it well, and it'll reward you with clearer thinking, better memory, and more mental horsepower. Chapter 9. Key number 9. Move your ass. Your brain will thank you. Doing physical exercise frequently isn't just for jocks. It pumps blood to your brain, making you think clearer. It's one of the keys to smart people looking less frazzled. Become smarter every day by taking the stairs, you lazy bum. Yeah, I'm talking about physical exercise. And before you groan and say, but I'm trying to get smarter, not run a marathon, let me stop you right there. Doing physical exercise frequently isn't just for jocks, gym rats, or people who inexplicably enjoy sweating profusely in public. It's a crucial component of brain health and cognitive function. Think your brain and your body are two totally separate entities? Wrong. They're intricately connected. What's good for your body is almost always good for your brain, and moving your ass is very good for your brain. Here's why: increased blood flow, fresh O2 for your thinker. When you exercise, your heart pumps harder, sending more oxygen-rich blood to all parts of your body, including your brain. Your brain loves oxygen. More oxygen means better brain function, clearer thinking, and improved focus. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room for your neurons. Release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, miracle grow for your brain. Exercise stimulates the release of BDNF, a protein that acts like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps promote the growth of new neurons, neurogenesis, strengthens existing ones, and improves connections between them. This is huge for learning and memory. Reduced stress and improved mood. Less frazzle, more dazzle. Exercise is a fantastic stress buster. It helps regulate mood, influencing neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Feeling stressed, anxious, or down? A good workout can often clear your head and lift your spirits, and a less stressed, happier brain is a smarter brain. It's one of the keys to smart people looking less frazzled and more in control. Improved sleep. See Chapter 7. Regular physical activity can significantly improve the quality of your sleep, and as we've already established, good sleep is non-negotiable for brain power. Long-term brain health. Studies have shown that regular exercise can help reduce the risk of cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's later in life. Think of it as an investment in your future brain. You don't have to become an Olympic athlete. We're not talking about hours of grueling workouts every day, unless you're into that. Consistency is more important than intensity. Aim for aerobic. Exercise. Anything that gets your heart rate up. Brisk walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, dancing. Even 30 minutes most days of the week can make a big difference. Find something you don't hate. If you despise running, don't run. Find an activity you find at least moderately enjoyable, or you'll never stick with it. Incorporate more movement into your day. Become smarter every day by taking the stairs, you lazy bum. Park further away from the store. Get up and walk around. During phone calls, fidget. Every little bit counts. Stop thinking of exercise as a chore you have to do for your body. Start thinking of it as something you get to do for your brain. It's one of the most powerful, readily available tools for boosting cognitive function, improving mood, and protecting your brain for the long haul. So, move your ass. Your brain will definitely thank you for it, probably by helping you remember where you left your keys. Chapter 10. Key Runner 10. Strum a guitar, bang a drum, make some. Brain boosting. Noise. Learn how to play musical instruments. It's not just about impressing people, though it helps. It rewires your brain, improves memory, and makes you better at multitasking. Plus, Smarter EveryDay Audio sounds better if you actually understand music. So, you want to learn how to play musical instruments? Excellent choice. And no, it's not just about fulfilling that secret rock star fantasy or trying to impress someone at a party, though, let's be honest, successfully busting out Wonderwall has its moments. Playing a musical instrument is like sending your brain to a high-level cognitive boot camp. It's a complex, multifaceted activity that fires up and strengthens neural pathways like few other things can. Think about what's involved. Fine motor skills and coordination. Whether you're pressing frets on a guitar, hitting keys on a piano, or coordinating your hands and feet on a drum kit, you're developing incredible dexterity and coordination. Your brain is working overtime to translate thoughts into precise physical movements. Memory enhancement. You're memorizing notes, chords, melodies, rhythms, and entire pieces of music. This is a serious workout for your short-term and long-term. Memory. Musicians often have demonstrably better verbal memory, improved reading and comprehension skills. Learning to read sheet music is like learning a new language. It involves decoding symbols, understanding patterns, and interpreting instructions, all of which can translate to better comprehension in other areas. Enhanced auditory processing. Musicians become incredibly attuned to subtle differences in pitch, timbre, and rhythm. This sharpens your listening skills not just for music, but for spoken language too, making it easier to pick up nuances in conversation. Mathematical and pattern recognition skills. Music is full of patterns, fractions, note durations, and relationships. Understanding music theory often involves a surprising amount of mathematical thinking, even if you don't realize it. Discipline and perseverance. Learning an instrument takes time, patience, and dedication. You won't sound like Jimi Hendrix overnight. Sticking with it builds discipline and teaches you the value of consistent effort, qualities that are useful in pretty much every area of life. Better multitasking abilities. Playing an instrument often requires doing several things at once, reading music, using both hands, and sometimes feet, independently, listening to yourself and others, if playing in a group, and keeping time. This is a fantastic way to train your brain to handle multiple streams of information. Stress relief and creative outlet. Losing yourself in playing music can be an incredible way to de-stress and express yourself creatively. It's a healthy escape and a way to tap into different parts of your brain. And yeah, as a little bonus, all that smarter everyday audio you might be consuming, like this very audiobook, wink wink, actually does sound better if you have a deeper understanding and appreciation for the structure and nuances of music. You'll pick up on things you never noticed before. Don't think you're not musical or too old to learn. That's just that old fixed mindset creeping back in. Chapter 2, remember? Millions of people learn instruments at all ages. Pick something that appeals to you. Want to be the life of the party, guitar or ukulele? Love rhythm, drums or percussion? Drawn to melody, piano, violin, flute? Want something portable? Harmonica. There are tons of free and cheap resources online to get you started. YouTube tutorials, apps, local music teachers. The barrier to entry is lower than ever. Learning a musical instrument rewires your brain in profound ways. It builds new connections, strengthens existing ones, and enhances a whole suite of cognitive skills. So, pick up an instrument, make some noise. Your brain will be jamming along with you. Part 3. Habits for effective thinking and problem-solving, figuring stuff out without crying. Chapter 11. Key. 11. Stop believing everything you hear. Einstein practiced critical thinking. Just because your uncle posted it on Facebook doesn't make it true. Smart people question stuff. It's one of the keys to become smarter, knowing what habits are making you smarter versus just dumber. In today's world, you're constantly bombarded with information. It's coming at you from your phone, your TV, your friends, your family, and yes, from your Uncle Barry's questionable Facebook posts about alien conspiracies and miracle cures involving cabbage. If you just passively absorb all of this without a filter, you're going to end up with a head full of nonsense, and that's not exactly the path to getting smarter. This is where critical thinking comes in. You need to practice critical thinking. It's not about being negative or cynical all the time. It's about being discerning. It's about questioning, analyzing, and evaluating information before you accept it as truth. Just because someone said it confidently, or because it's written down, or because everyone knows it, doesn't make it true. Smart people question stuff. They don't just nod along like sheep. They poke holes. They look for evidence. They consider alternative explanations. Think about it. That amazing new diet that promises you'll lose 20 pounds in a week. Critical thinking asks, what's the science behind it? Are there any side effects? Is this too good to be true? That news article that makes your blood boil. Critical thinking asks, what's the source? Are they biased? Is there another side to this story? Are they using emotionally charged language to manipulate me? That fact your friend told you at the bar. Critical thinking asks, where did they hear that? Could they be mistaken or misremembering? Learning to think critically is one of the absolute keys to become smarter because it helps you distinguish between useful information and utter garbage. It's about knowing what habits are making you smarter versus just dumber. Passively accepting everything you encounter, dumber. Actively questioning and evaluating, smarter. So how do you flex this critical thinking muscle? This question, assumptions. Don't take things at face value. What are the underlying assumptions being made? Are they valid? Evaluate evidence. Is there actual evidence to support the claim? Or is it just an opinion, an anecdote, or wishful thinking? Is the evidence reliable and unbiased? Identify biases. Everyone has biases, including you and the people providing the information. Try to recognize them. How might those biases be influencing the message? Consider alternatives. Is there another way to look at this? Are there other possible explanations or solutions? Look for logical fallacies. These are flaws in reasoning that make an argument invalid, e.g., attacking the person instead of the argument, assuming something is true because many people believe it. Learn to spot them. Be wary of emotional appeals. Strong emotions can cloud judgment. If something makes you feel really angry, scared, or overly excited, take a step back and analyze it more objectively. This isn't about turning into a know-it-all who argues with everyone. It's about developing a healthy skepticism and a desire for truth and understanding. It's about not being easily fooled or manipulated. So next time Uncle Barry posts about the government using pigeons to spy on us, don't just hit share, engage your critical thinking. Ask some questions, even if only in your own head. It's a vital skill for navigating the modern world and a cornerstone of genuine intelligence. Stop being a sponge. Start being a filter. Chapter 12. Key. Matter 12. Connect the freaking dots. Sherlock being smart means seeing how A links to B, even when they look miles apart. That's how you get those aha moments and become smarter than the average bear who just sees a bunch of random facts. Ever look at a bunch of seemingly random facts or ideas and suddenly see a pattern, a connection that wasn't obvious before? That aha moment where things just click into place. That, my friend, is the magic of connecting the dots, and it's a hallmark of being truly smart. Being smart isn't just about collecting isolated pieces of knowledge like hoarding stamps or bottle caps. Any chump can memorize facts. The real skill lies in seeing how A links to B, how X influences Y, even when A and B look like they're from different planets. It's about synthesizing information, not just accumulating it. Think about it. A historian doesn't just memorize dates. They see how economic conditions in one era led to social upheaval in the next. A scientist doesn't just conduct experiments. They see how a small discovery in one field could have massive implications in another. An entrepreneur doesn't just have an idea. They see how an unmet need in the market connects with an emerging technology to create a new opportunity. This ability to connect disparate pieces of information is how you become smarter than the average bear who just sees a jumble of trees and misses the forest. It's how you move from simply knowing things to truly understanding them. It's where insight and innovation are born. So how do you get better at connecting the dots? Cultivate broad interests. Remember Chapter 1? Be nosy. The more diverse your knowledge base, the more dots you have to connect. If all you know about is, say, 17th century basket weaving, you're going to have a hard time seeing connections to quantum physics. Read widely. Learn about different subjects. Look for patterns and analogies. Is this situation similar to something you've encountered before, even in a completely different context? Can you draw an analogy? This political negotiation is a bit like a high-stakes poker game because ask how and why. Chapter 5. Again. These questions naturally lead you to explore relationships and causal links. How did that lead to this? Why did they react that way? Don't be afraid to make weird connections. Sometimes the most innovative ideas come from linking things that no one else thought to link. Let your mind wander a bit. What if you combined this idea from art with that concept from engineering? Step back and see the big picture. Sometimes you're too close to the individual dots. Take a mental step back. What's the overarching theme? What are the underlying principles at play? Talk to people with different perspectives. Chapter 15 is coming. They might see connections you've completely missed because they're looking at the dots from a different angle. This isn't always easy. Sometimes the connections are subtle, and it takes time and mental effort to uncover them. But the more you practice looking for these links, the better you'll get at it. Your brain will start to do it more automatically. So stop treating knowledge like a collection of isolated islands. Start building bridges between them. Look for the hidden threads that tie things together. That's where the real understanding, the real smart lies. Be less of a fact collector and more of a dot connector. Chapter 13. Key, 13. Screw up, learn, repeat. That's growth, baby. Embrace productive failure. Mistakes aren't the end of the world. They're how you learn how to become smarter. Only losers think mistakes make them dumb. Winners see them as keys to become smarter every day. Nobody likes to fail. It stings. It can be embarrassing. It makes you want to crawl under a rock and question all your life choices. But here's a secret that smart people understand. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. You need to learn to embrace productive failure. Mistakes aren't the end of the world. They're how you learn how to become smarter. Think about it. How did you learn to walk? By falling down. A lot. How did you learn to ride a bike? By wobbling, crashing, and skinning your knees. Every failure was a data point teaching your brain and body what not to do next time. The same principle applies to intellectual growth. Tried a new problem-solving approach that didn't work? Great. Now you know one way that doesn't work, and you've probably learned something valuable in the process. Made a bad investment based on what seemed like solid reasoning? Ouch. But what can you learn from the experience to make better financial decisions in the future? Said something colossally stupid in a debate. Embarrassing, sure. But what did you learn about your argument or your delivery or the other person's perspective? Only losers think mistakes make them dumb. They get defensive, they blame others, they give up. Winners, on the other hand, see failures and mistakes as keys to become smarter every day. They analyze what went wrong, extract the lessons, adjust their approach, and try again. That's the learn-repeat part. Here's how to make your failures productive. Don't beat yourself up too much. It happened. Wallowing in self-pity doesn't help anyone. Acknowledge the screw-up, feel the sting for a moment, then move on to analysis. Analyze what happened objectively. What were your assumptions? Where did your reasoning go off track? What external factors played a role? Try to be a detached observer of your own mess-up. Extract the lessons. What's the key takeaway here? What will you do differently next time? What new knowledge or insight have you gained from this failure? Adjust your approach. Don't just keep making the same mistake over and over again, hoping for a different result. That's the definition of insanity, by the way. Use what you learned to modify your strategy. Get back on the horse. Don't let a setback paralyze you. The sooner you try again, incorporating the lessons learned, the sooner you'll overcome the obstacle. This isn't an excuse to be careless or reckless. Productive failure means you were genuinely trying to achieve something. You took a calculated risk, and it didn't pan out. It doesn't mean just phoning it in and then shrugging when it all goes wrong. Embracing failure is about cultivating resilience. It's about understanding that the path to getting smarter, to achieving anything worthwhile, is rarely a straight line. It's usually a messy, winding road full of potholes and detours. Each failure is just a signpost showing you a better way forward if you're willing to read it. So go out there and dare to screw up. Just make sure you learn something from it. That's not just growth. That's how you get smarter, one oops at a time. Chapter 14. Key 14. Think about what you just did. You maniac master the art of reflection. What worked? What was a total disaster? Turning experience into wisdom is a core smarter everyday habit. These are habits to become smarter, not just busier. Life moves fast. You finish one task, one project, one conversation, one disaster, and you're immediately on to the next. We're all busy, busy, busy. But if you're just constantly doing without ever pausing to think about what you've done, you're missing out on a huge opportunity for growth. You need to master the art of reflection. Reflection is basically hitting the mental pause button and asking yourself, okay, what the hell just happened? And what can I learn from it? It's about consciously looking back at your experiences, good, bad, and ugly, and extracting the wisdom. This is a core smarter everyday habit, because simply accumulating experiences doesn't make you smarter. It just makes you older and more tired. It's the reflection on those experiences that turns them into valuable lessons. Think about it. You nailed that presentation. Awesome. Reflection asks, what did I do well? What preparation paid off? How can I replicate that success? That team project was a total dumpster fire. Yikes. Reflection asks, where did things go wrong? What were the communication breakdowns? What was my role in the chaos? What will we do differently next time? You learned a new skill, but are still struggling with parts of it. Reflection asks, what aspects are clicking? Where am I still fuzzy? What learning strategies are working best for me? These are habits to become smarter, not just busier. Anyone can fill their days with activity. Smart people take the time to process that activity and learn from it. So how do you actually do this reflection thing without it feeling like homework? Schedule it, even briefly. You don't need an hour-long meditation session, though if that's your jam, go for it. It could be 10 minutes at the end of the workday, a quick review during your commute, or even just a few thoughtful moments before you fall asleep. Ask good questions. Again, what went well? Why? What didn't go well? Why? What surprised me? What did I learn about myself, about others, about the topic task? What will I do differently next time? What am I grateful for from this experience? Be honest, brutally if necessary. Don't just focus on the positives or try to sugarcoat the negatives. Real learning comes from facing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Don't just dwell on mistakes. Reflection isn't just about beating yourself up for what went wrong. See Chapter 13. It's also about recognizing and reinforcing what went right so you can do more of it. Write it down, optional but powerful. For some people, journaling or even just jotting down a few bullet points can help solidify the lessons. It forces you to articulate your thoughts. Look for patterns over time. As you reflect regularly, you might start to see recurring themes or patterns in your successes and failures. This can provide deeper insights into your strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies. Reflection is like a mental debrief. Pilots do it after every flight. Athletes do it after every game. Why? Because it's how they improve. It's how they ensure they don't keep making the same mistakes and how they build on their successes. So stop just rushing from one thing to the next like a headless chicken. Take a breath. Think about what you just did, you maniac. Turn those raw experiences into refined wisdom. That's a habit that will make you significantly smarter every single day. Chapter 15. Key. The 15. Listen to people who aren't your clones. Seek diverse perspectives. If everyone around you agrees with you all the time, you're in a cult or an echo chamber. Smart people keys to become smarter every day include hearing stuff that makes you uncomfortable. It helps you get smarter. If everyone in your social circle, your workplace, or your online feed nods in agreement with every single thing you say, you've got a problem. You're either the charismatic leader of a very niche cult, or more likely, you're stuck in an echo chamber. And echo chambers are where critical thinking goes to die and intellectual growth shrivels up like a forgotten houseplant. To truly sharpen your mind and broaden your understanding, you need to seek diverse perspectives. This is one of the most important smart people keys to become smarter every day. Why? Because people who think differently, who come from different backgrounds, who have different experiences, will see things you miss. They'll challenge your assumptions. Remember Chapter 11? Poke holes in your brilliant theories and introduce you to ideas you never would have encountered otherwise. It's not always comfortable. In fact, sometimes it's downright annoying. Hearing stuff that contradicts your deeply held beliefs or makes you question your worldview can be jarring. But that discomfort, that's often a sign that your brain is being stretched, and stretching is how you grow. It helps you get smarter. Think about it. If you're a staunch liberal, actively listen. So don't just shout at a thoughtful conservative. And vice versa. You don't have to agree, but try to understand why they believe what they believe. If you're an engineer, talk to an artist about a problem. They'll approach it from a completely different angle. If you're young, seek out the wisdom of someone older. If you're older, listen to the fresh perspectives of someone younger. Here's why surrounding yourself with a chorus of yes men is a bad idea, and why diversity of thought is crucial. It exposes your blind spots. We all have them. Perspectives we haven't considered, biases we're unaware of. People who aren't your clones are more likely to point these out. It strengthens your own arguments. If your ideas can withstand scrutiny and challenge from different viewpoints, they become stronger and more well-rounded. If they crumble, well, maybe they weren't so great to begin with. See Chapter 13 on productive failure. It fosters creativity and innovation. Breakthroughs often happen at the intersection of different fields and ideas. Exposing yourself to diverse perspectives provides more raw material for your brain to connect in new and interesting ways. Chapter 12, it makes you more empathetic and understanding. Seeing the world through someone else's eyes, even if you don't agree with their view, builds empathy and helps you understand the complexities of human experience. It prevents groupthink. This is when a group of people all start to think alike and suppress dissenting opinions, often leading to terrible decisions. Diverse perspectives are the antidote. How to do this without starting a riot. Actively seek out different voices. Read books and articles by authors with different backgrounds and opinions. Follow people on social media who challenge your thinking, but curate carefully to avoid trolls. Listen with an open mind. Chapter 4. The goal isn't to win an argument, it's to understand. Ask clarifying questions. Try to see the logic in their position, even if you disagree with the premise. Be respectful. You can disagree without being disagreeable. Name-calling and shouting down opposing views just shuts down the conversation and you learn nothing. Look for common ground, if possible. Even in very different perspectives, there might be shared values or goals. Being willing to listen to people who aren't your clones, to engage with ideas that make you uncomfortable, is a sign of intellectual maturity and a powerful catalyst for growth. It keeps your thinking fresh, challenges your biases, and ultimately makes you a smarter, more well-rounded individual. So step out of the echo chamber and into the messy, fascinating world of diverse thought. Part 4. Action, productivity, and continuous growth. Actually doing things. Chapter 16. Key. 16. Get off your butt and do more. Smartly. Push yourself to become more productive. Not just busy work, but focused action. Deep work. Fewer cat videos. Smart people habits include actually finishing things. You can have the sharpest mind, the most open perspective, and the best learning habits. But if you're not actually producing anything, you're just a well-informed couch potato. It's time to push yourself to become more productive. Now hold on, when I say productive, I don't mean just being busy. Anyone can fill their day with pointless tasks, endless email checking, and scrolling through social media until their eyeballs bleed. That's busy work, not productive work. We're talking about focused action. We're talking about deep work, that state of intense concentration where you're fully immersed in a task, making real progress and creating something of value. This means, unfortunately, fewer cat videos. Yeah, I know, it's a sacrifice. But your future, more accomplished self will thank you. Smart people habits definitely include actually finishing things. They don't just start a million projects and then abandon them when something shiny and new comes along. They see things through. They understand that consistent, focused effort is what turns ideas into reality. Why is being productively active so important for getting smarter? Application solidifies learning. You can read all the books in the world about coding, but you won't truly understand it until you start writing code, debugging it, and seeing it work or fail spectacularly. See Chapter 13. Doing things takes theoretical knowledge and makes it practical. It creates feedback loops. When you're actively working on something, you get feedback from the task itself, from others, from the results. This feedback is crucial for learning, adapting, and improving. It builds momentum. Accomplishing tasks, even small ones, creates a sense of momentum and self-efficacy. This makes it easier to tackle bigger, more challenging projects. It forces problem-solving. Real-world tasks rarely go exactly as planned. You'll encounter obstacles, unexpected challenges, and things you don't know how to do. Being productive forces you to think on your feet and solve problems. So how do you stop procrastinating and start producing smartly? Identify your most important tasks, MITs. What are the 1 to 3 things that, if you accomplish them today, will make the biggest impact? Focus on those first. Time blocking, time boxing, allocate specific blocks of time for specific tasks. Treat these appointments with yourself as seriously as you'd treat a meeting with your boss. Eliminate distractions, the mortal enemy of deep work. Turn off notifications. Close unnecessary browser tabs. Find a quiet workspace if possible. Let people know you're in focus mode. The Pomodoro technique. Work in focused 25-minute intervals, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break. This can help maintain concentration and prevent burnout. Batch. Similar tasks. Instead of constantly switching contexts, which drains mental energy, group similar tasks together. Answer all your emails at once, make all your calls at once, etc. Break down. Big projects. A huge, overwhelming project is a recipe for procrastination. Break it down into smaller, manageable steps. Then just focus on the next step. Just start. The 5-minute rule. If you're dreading a task, tell yourself you'll just work on it for 5 minutes. Often, once you start, you'll find it's not so bad and you'll keep going. Being productive isn't about working yourself into the ground. It's about working smarter, not just harder. It's about directing your energy and focus towards things that actually matter, things that contribute to your goals and your growth. So, get off your butt, identify what needs doing, minimize the fluff, and start making real, tangible progress. That's how you move from just thinking smart to being smart in action. Chapter 17. Key 17. Explain it to a 5-year-old or your clueless friend. Teach others what you learn. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it yourself. It's about transferring knowledge, and it's one of those habits that benefit you the most. For locking stuff in your own brain. You've learned something new. Maybe it's a complex scientific concept, a historical event, how to bake a souffle, or the intricacies of the offside rule in soccer. You think you've got it down, but do you really? The ultimate test is this. Can you explain it to someone else, simply and clearly? Can you teach others what you learn? This is often called the Feynman technique, named after the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman, who was a master at breaking down complex ideas into simple terms. The core idea is powerful. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it yourself. Trying to teach something forces you to identify the core concepts. You have to strip away the jargon and the fluff and get down to the essential building blocks of the idea. What are the absolute must-know parts? Organize your thoughts logically. To explain something clearly, you need to present it in a way that makes sense, with a logical flow from one point to the next. This forces you to structure your own understanding. Find analogies and examples. Abstract concepts are often best understood through relatable analogies or concrete examples. Coming up with these helps you connect the new information to existing knowledge, both for your student and for yourself. Pinpoint your own gaps in understanding. This is crucial. As you try to explain it, you'll inevitably stumble upon a part that you're a bit fuzzy on, or a question you can't quite answer. Boom! That's where your own understanding is weak. Now you know exactly what you need to go back and review. It's about transferring knowledge. Yes, but the sneaky benefit is that the process of preparing to transfer that knowledge and the act of transferring it dramatically deepens your own comprehension. It's one of those habits that benefit you the most for truly locking stuff in your own brain. It's active recall and synthesis on steroids. You don't need a formal classroom or an actual 5-year-old, though they are excellent at asking brutally honest, clarifying questions. You can explain it to a friend or family member, preferably one who isn't already an expert. Write a blog post or a social media thread about it in simple terms. Record yourself explaining it as if you were teaching a class. Imagine you're explaining it to your younger self. Use the rubber ducky method. Explain it out loud to an inanimate object, like a rubber duck on your desk. The act of verbalizing helps. The key is to aim for clarity and simplicity. Avoid jargon where possible, or if you must use it, define it clearly. If your explanation relies on a bunch of other complicated concepts that your student doesn't understand, you haven't simplified it enough. This isn't about dumbing things down in a patronizing way. It's about achieving a level of mastery where you can articulate the essence of an idea with elegance and precision. When you can make the complex seem simple, that's a true sign of understanding. So, next time you learn something new and exciting, don't just hoard that knowledge. Try to teach it to someone. The effort you put into making it understandable for them will make it unforgettable for you. It's a win-win for becoming smarter. Chapter 18. Key, verse 18. Tinker, fiddle, break stuff. Constructively. Experiment. Try things out. How to become smarter every day involves getting your hands dirty. Theoretical knowledge is fine, but practical application makes you truly smarter every day. You can read every manual, watch every tutorial, and listen to every lecture, but until you actually start doing things with what you've learned, a lot of it will remain abstract and a bit fuzzy. You need to experiment. Try things out. This is where theoretical knowledge smacks headfirst into reality, and that collision is incredibly valuable. How to become smarter every day isn't just about passively absorbing information. It involves actively engaging with the world, testing ideas, and seeing what happens. It's about getting your hands dirty, metaphorically or literally. Think about it. You can read about how an engine works, but you'll understand it on a whole new level if you actually try to take one apart and put it back together. Maybe start with a lawnmower engine, not your cars. You can learn programming concepts, but they won't really click until you start. Writing your own code, seeing it run or crash, and figuring out why. You can study art history, but you'll appreciate the techniques so much more if you pick up a brush and try to replicate a style or create something original. Theoretical knowledge is fine, but practical application makes you truly smarter every day. Why? It reveals the nuances. Textbooks and lectures often simplify things. When you start tinkering, you discover the little details, the exceptions to the rule, the things that don't quite work the way the theory said they would. This is where deep understanding is built. It develops problem-solving skills. When you're experimenting, things will inevitably go wrong. Your code will have bugs. Your soufflé will collapse. Your carefully constructed argument will have a flaw. Figuring out why and how to fix it is an incredible mental workout. It fosters creativity and innovation. Tinkering is about playing with ideas, trying different combinations, and seeing what emerges. This, what if I tried this? Mindset is the seed of creativity. Sometimes the best discoveries are accidental, found while you were fiddling around with something else. It builds confidence. Successfully applying what you've learned, building something, fixing something, or making something work gives you a powerful sense of competence and mastery. It makes learning more engaging and memorable. Actively doing something is far more engaging than passively listening or reading. And experiences are often much more memorable than abstract facts. So how do you incorporate more tinkering into your life? Start small and safe. You don't need to begin by trying to build a nuclear reactor in your garage. If you're learning to cook, experiment with a new recipe, or try adjusting an old one. If you're learning a language, try having a basic conversation, even if it's clunky. Don't be afraid to break things constructively. Sometimes the best way to understand how something works is to take it apart. As long as it's something you're allowed to take apart and can hopefully put back together, or at least learn from the deconstruction. This is about deconstruction for understanding, not mindless vandalism. Embrace the trial and error process. Not every experiment will be a success. That's okay. Remember Chapter 13 on productive failure? Each error is a data point. Ask, what if? What if I change this variable? What if I combine these two things? What if I approach this from a completely different angle? Follow your curiosity. If something piques your interest, dive in and play with it. See where it leads. This hands-on experimental approach is crucial. It transforms passive knowledge into active, usable skills. It takes you from someone who knows about things to someone who knows how to do things. And that, my friend, is a powerful way to get smarter every single day. So go on, tinker, fiddle, and see what you can discover. Chapter 19. Key Halentantin. Chill out. Stress makes you stupid. Manage stress effectively. When you deal with stress and do things that makes you happy, your brain actually works better. Chronic stress fries your circuits. You can't become smarter if you're constantly freaking out. We live in a world that seems designed to frazzle our nerves. Deadlines, bills, traffic, endless notifications, the existential dread of choosing what to watch on Netflix. It's a lot. And while a little bit of short-term stress can sometimes be motivating, like that adrenaline rush before a big presentation, chronic, unrelenting stress is a brain killer. You need to manage stress effectively. Because when you deal with stress and do things that makes you happy, your brain actually works better. It's not about being a blissed-out hippie who ignores all responsibility. It's about recognizing that your mental performance plummets when your stress levels are constantly through the roof. Chronic stress fries your circuits. Seriously, it floods your brain with cortisol, the stress hormone. In small doses, cortisol is fine, but prolonged exposure can impair memory and learning. Cortisol can damage the hippocampus, a key brain region for learning and memory. So, all that effort you're putting into getting smarter, stress is actively working against it. Reduce focus and attention. When you're stressed, your brain is in fight or flight mode, scanning for threats. This makes it incredibly hard to concentrate on complex tasks or absorb new information. Kill creativity. Stress narrows your focus. Creativity thrives on open, expansive thinking. You can't connect those dots. Chapter 12. If your brain is locked in survival mode, lead to burnout. Eventually, your brain just gets exhausted. You become mentally fatigued, cynical, and less effective at everything. Make you more prone to bad decisions. When stressed, you're more likely to rely on impulsive emotional reactions rather than rational thought. Bottom line, you can't become smarter if you're constantly freaking out. Your brain just doesn't have the resources. So how do you chill out and protect your precious brain power? Identify your stress triggers. What consistently sets you off? Unrealistic deadlines? Difficult people? Financial worries? Knowing your triggers is the first step to managing them. Practice mindfulness and meditation. More on this later. Even a few minutes a day can help calm your nervous system, improve focus, and make you less reactive to stressors. Get enough. Sleep. Chapter 7, Revisited. Sleep deprivation cranks up stress levels. Good sleep helps your brain reset and cope. Exercise regularly. Chapter 9, Still important. Physical activity is a fantastic stress reliever. It burns off nervous energy and releases mood-boosting endorphins. Spend time in nature. Even a short walk in a park can lower cortisol levels and improve your mood. Connect with loved ones. Strong social connections are a buffer against stress. Talk to friends, family, or a partner. Make time for hobbies and fun. Do things you genuinely enjoy, things that make you lose track of time. This is crucial for recharging your mental batteries. Things that make you happy aren't a luxury, they're a necessity for a healthy brain. Learn to say no. Overcommitting yourself is a one-way ticket to Stressville. Protect your time and energy. Deep breathing exercises. Simple but incredibly effective for calming yourself down in a stressful moment. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Seek professional help if needed. If stress is overwhelming and chronic, don't be afraid to talk to a therapist or counselor. Managing stress isn't about eliminating it entirely. That's probably impossible. It's about developing healthy coping mechanisms and building resilience so that stress doesn't derail your mental game. So, take a breath, chill out, give your brain a break from the freak-out factory. A calmer, happier brain is a smarter, more effective brain. Chapter 20. Key 20. Surround yourself with smart, not stupid. Build a smart environment. Hang out with people who challenge you. Read books, not just clickbait. Smart people know that what habits are making you smarter often depends on who and what you're around. You've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. There's a lot of truth to that, especially when it comes to your intellectual growth. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, apathy, or people who think critical thinking is what happens when you criticize a movie, it's going to be an uphill battle to get smarter. You need to build a smart environment. This isn't just about physical space, it's about the people, the information, and the influences you allow into your life. Smart people know that what habits are making you smarter often depends on who and what you're around. Think of it like this. If you want to get fit, you join a gym, maybe hang out with other people who are into fitness, and you probably don't keep your pantry stocked exclusively with donuts. If you want to learn a language, you immerse yourself in it. Listen to music in that language. Watch movies, try to speak with native speakers. The same principle applies to getting smarter. People power or people drain. Hang out with people who challenge you intellectually. People who ask tough questions, Chapter 5, introduce you to new ideas and aren't afraid to respectfully disagree with you, Chapter 15. These interactions sharpen your own thinking. Seek out mentors or role models, people who are where you want to be, or who embody the intellectual qualities you admire. Learn from them. Limit time with energy vampires or chronic complainers. People who constantly drag you down, dismiss your efforts to learn and grow, or suck the intellectual curiosity out of a room. You don't have to cut them out completely unless they're truly toxic, but be mindful of their impact. Information diet, garbage in, stupidity out. Read books, not just clickbait. We've been over this, Chapter 3, but it bears repeating. High quality information nourishes your mind. Low quality, sensationalized crap just clutters it up. Consume thoughtful media. Documentaries, well-researched podcasts, insightful articles. Be selective about what you feed your brain. Curate your social media feeds. Unfollow accounts that just make you angry, envious, or feel dumber. Follow accounts that share interesting ideas, inspire you, or teach you something new. Physical environment, your brain's workspace. Create a space conducive to learning and thinking. This doesn't mean you need a fancy library. It could be a clean desk, good lighting, and minimal distractions. When you need to focus, keep learning materials accessible. Books, notebooks, whatever tools you use. If they're out and visible, you're more likely to engage with them. Building a smart environment isn't about becoming an elitist snob. It's about consciously choosing influences that support your growth and minimizing those that hinder it. It's about creating an ecosystem where your curiosity can thrive, where learning is encouraged, and where your brain is constantly stimulated in positive ways. Ask yourself, do the people I spend time with inspire me to learn and think? Or do they drag me down? Is the information I consume making me more knowledgeable and insightful, or just more agitated and confused? Does my physical environment support focused thought? Or is it a chaotic mess? Make conscious choices. You have more control over your environment than you think. Surround yourself with smart people, smart ideas, and smart influences. It's a powerful multiplier for all the other efforts you're making to become smarter every day. Part 5. Sustaining lifelong smart habits. Don't be a one-hit wonder. Chapter 21. Key 21. Know what the hell you're trying to learn. Set clear learning goals. Don't just wander around the internet bibliome. Keys to become smarter include having a target. It helps you figure out how to become a smarter person on purpose. The internet is an amazing place. It's a vast, infinite library of information, a university at your fingertips. It's also a colossal, time-sucking black hole of cat videos, celebrity gossip, and endless rabbit trails that lead precisely nowhere. If you just wander around the internet bibliome, yeah, I made that word up, sounds smart, right? Without a plan, you'll learn a lot of random, disconnected trivia, but you might not actually get smarter in a meaningful way. This is where goals come in. You need to set clear learning goals. Think of it like planning a trip. You wouldn't just get in your car and start driving randomly, hoping to end up somewhere cool. You'd pick a destination, map out a route, maybe even decide on some interesting stops along the way. Learning is the same. Having a target is one of the fundamental keys to become smarter. It gives your learning direction and purpose. It helps you focus your efforts, filter out distractions, and measure your progress. It helps you figure out how to become a smarter person on purpose, rather than just by accident. Why are clear learning goals so important? They provide focus. When you know what you're trying to learn, e.g., I want to understand the basics of quantum mechanics, or I want to learn conversational Spanish, or I want to master a new programming language, it's much easier to decide what information is relevant and what's just noise. They increase motivation. Having a clear goal gives you something to work towards. It makes the effort feel more meaningful. Ticking off milestones on the way to a larger learning goal is incredibly satisfying. They help you measure progress. How do you know if you're getting smarter if you don't know what you're aiming for? Clear goals allow you to see how far you've come and what you still need to work on. They make decision-making easier. Should you read this article or that one, watch this documentary or play that video game? If you have a learning goal, the choice often becomes much clearer. They prevent shiny object syndrome. It's easy to get distracted by the next interesting topic that comes along. Clear goals help you stay on track, at least for a while, before you chase the next squirrel. So, how do you set these magical learning goals? Be specific. Learn about history is too vague. Learn about the causes of World War I is much better. Get smarter is a wish. Read 3 non-fiction books this month on behavioral economics is a goal. Make them measurable, if possible. Learn Spanish is hard to measure. Be able to hold a 5-minute basic conversation in Spanish within 3 months is measurable. Make them achievable, but challenging. Don't set yourself up for failure by aiming too high too fast. But also, don't make it so easy that you're not stretching yourself. Make them relevant. Why do you want to learn this? How will it benefit you? Connecting your learning goals to your broader interests or aspirations makes them more compelling. Set a time frame. Optional, but helpful. Deadlines can be a good motivator for some people. Your learning goals don't have to be monumental. They can be small and short-term. This week, I want to understand the main arguments in this philosophy paper. Or today, I want to learn 5 new vocabulary words in French. The point is to be intentional. Stop just passively consuming information. Decide what you want to know, what you want to understand, what skills you want to acquire. Then make a plan to get there. That's how you take control of your intellectual journey and truly become smarter, one well-defined goal at a time. Chapter 22. Key. 22. Do hard things. Easy is for wimps. Embrace discomfort and challenge. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Become smarter. Everyday keys to smart people involve stepping out of your comfort zone. That smarter. Everyday audiobook stuff only works if you apply the hard lessons. Our brains, like our muscles, are wired for efficiency. They love comfort zones. They love familiar patterns. They love the path of least resistance. But here's the kicker. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. If you're only ever doing things that feel easy and familiar, you're not really learning or growing. You're just treading water. You need to embrace discomfort and challenge. There's a saying, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And that applies tenfold to your brain. Pushing yourself to tackle difficult problems, learn complex skills, or engage with challenging ideas is how you forge new neural pathways and expand your cognitive abilities. Become smarter everyday keys. To smart people absolutely involves stepping out of your comfort zone. It's about willingly taking on tasks that make you scratch your head, that frustrate you a little or a lot, that force you to stretch your mental muscles beyond their current limits. Think about it. Learning a new language isn't easy. You'll stumble over words, butcher grammar, and feel foolish, but it's in that struggle that your brain rewires itself. Trying to understand a complex scientific theory isn't easy. You'll have to reread passages, look up unfamiliar terms, and wrestle with abstract concepts. But it's that wrestling match that builds deeper understanding. Mastering a difficult piece of music isn't easy. You'll hit wrong notes, struggle with timing, and want to throw your instrument out the window. But it's that perseverance that hones your skill and discipline. That smarter everyday audiobook stuff, all these keys and habits. They only truly work if you're willing to apply the hard lessons. Listening to advice is easy. Putting in the effort to tackle challenging material, to persist through frustration, to embrace the discomfort of not knowing, that's the hard part. And that's where the real magic happens. Why is doing hard things so crucial for getting smarter? It stimulates neuroplasticity. Difficult tasks force your brain to adapt and create new connections. This is the very essence of learning and cognitive growth. It builds resilience and grit. Overcoming challenges teaches you that you can handle difficult things. It builds mental toughness and the ability to persevere when things get tough. It boosts confidence. Successfully tackling something you initially found daunting is an incredible confidence booster. It shows you what you're capable of. It leads to deeper understanding. You often learn more from struggling with a difficult problem than from breezing through an easy one. The effort involved helps to solidify the knowledge. It keeps things interesting. Let's be honest, constantly doing easy stuff gets boring. Challenges keep your brain engaged and prevent intellectual stagnation. This doesn't mean you should seek out pointless suffering or burn yourself out by only ever doing impossible tasks. It's about finding that sweet spot of challenge, tasks that are just beyond your current abilities, that require effort and focus, but are ultimately achievable. This is often called the zone of proximal development, so don't shy away from the hard stuff. When you encounter a concept that seems intimidating or a skill that feels out of reach, lean into it. See it as an opportunity for growth. Embrace the struggle, because it's in those moments of challenge, when you're pushing the boundaries of your understanding, that you're truly becoming smarter every day. Easy is for wimps, smart is for those who dare to do hard things. Chapter 23, Key. 23. Pay attention, damn it. Practice mindfulness and presence. Stop living in your head 5 minutes in the future or the past. Being present helps you get smarter by actually noticing what's happening. Useful for that smarter everyday audio you're supposedly listening to. In our hyper-connected, notification-driven world, our attention is constantly under siege. We're thinking about what we need to do next, replaying something that happened yesterday, scrolling through social media while half listening to a podcast, and generally living anywhere but in the present moment. This scattered, distracted state is terrible for learning and for becoming smarter. You need to practice mindfulness and presence. No, this isn't about levitating or chanting Om for hours, unless that's your thing. It's simply about learning to focus your attention on what's happening right now, without judgment. Stop living in your head 5 minutes in the future or the past. Why is this so important? Being present helps you get smarter by actually noticing what's happening. Improved focus and concentration. Mindfulness is like a workout for your attention muscle. The more you practice bringing your focus back to the present, the better you get at concentrating on tasks, whether it's reading a complex article, listening to a lecture, or working on a problem. Enhanced learning and memory. If you're not paying attention, you can't learn effectively. Information just washes over you. When you're present, you absorb more, process it more deeply, and are more likely to remember it. This is especially useful for that smarter everyday audio you're supposedly listening to. If your mind is wandering, while you're listening, you're not really learning. Reduced mind wandering. Our minds love to wander off. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of when your mind has drifted and gently bring it back, which is crucial for sustained mental effort. Better observation skills. When you're present, you notice more. The subtle nuances in a conversation, the details in your surroundings, the connections between ideas. This heightened awareness feeds your learning. Stress reduction. Remember chapter 19. A lot of our stress comes from worrying about the future or ruminating on the past. Being present can help break that cycle and bring a sense of calm. Increased self-awareness. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your own thoughts, emotions, and patterns of thinking, which is valuable for understanding yourself and how you learn best. So how do you pay attention, damn it, and cultivate more presence? Mindful breathing. This is the simplest starting point. Just focus on the sensation of your breath going in and out. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Do this for even a minute or two. Mindful observation. Pick an everyday object, a pen, a leaf, your coffee cup. Examine it with all your senses, as if you've never seen it before. Notice its color, texture, shape, smell. Mindful listening. When someone is talking, really listen. Chapter 4. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Pay attention to their words, their tone, their body language. When listening to that smarter everyday audio, try to eliminate distractions and truly focus on the content. Mindful activities. You can bring mindfulness to almost any activity. Eating, walking, washing dishes. Just focus fully on the sensations and the process without letting your mind drift. Single tasking. Resist the urge to multitask. When you're working on something, just work on that one thing. Give it your full attention. Digital detox. Short bursts. Intentionally disconnect from your devices for periods of time to give your attention a break from constant stimulation. Practicing mindfulness and presence isn't about achieving some mystical state of perfect, uninterrupted focus. It's about training your attention, noticing when it strays, and gently bringing it back. It's a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. The more present you are, the more you'll absorb from your experiences, the more effectively you'll learn, and the sharper your thinking will become. So take a breath, pay attention. Your journey to get smarter depends on it. Chapter 24. Key. Meta 24. Check yourself before you wreck yourself and your habits. Regularly review and adapt your habits. What habits benefit you the most? What are the most valuable habits you should have? The answers change. Don't get stuck in a rut. You've diligently adopted a bunch of new habits based on the keys in this book. Maybe you're reading more, sleeping better, exercising your brain with puzzles, or trying to explain complex ideas to your bewildered cat. That's great. But habits aren't set it and forget it. You need to regularly review and adapt your habits. Think of it like maintaining a car. You don't just buy it and assume it'll run perfectly forever. You get regular oil changes, check the tire pressure, and take it in for service when something feels off. Your personal development habits need the same kind of maintenance. Ask yourself, periodically, what habits benefit you the most? Which of the things you're doing are giving you the biggest bang for your buck in terms of feeling smarter, learning more, or thinking clearer? What are the most valuable habits you should have right now? Your priorities might shift. Maybe 6 months ago, your focus was on building a reading habit. Now, perhaps managing stress or learning a specific new skill is more pressing. Are any of your current habits feeling stale or ineffective? Are there any new habits you should consider adding? Are there any habits you should tweak or even drop? The answers change. Life circumstances, your energy levels, your learning goals, Chapter 21, your interests. All these things evolve. What was a perfect fit before might now feel like a struggle, or simply less impactful. Don't get stuck in a rut, blindly following a routine just because it's what you've always done. Why is this review and adaptation process so important? Ensures continued effectiveness. It keeps your habits aligned with your current needs and goals, making sure you're still getting the maximum benefit. Prevents burnout and boredom. Doing the exact same thing indefinitely can lead to boredom and a drop in motivation. Tweaking your routine or trying new approaches can keep things fresh. Allows for course correction. Maybe a habit you thought would be great isn't actually working for you. Regular review allows you to catch this and make adjustments before you waste too much time or energy. Promotes self-awareness. The act of reviewing your habits forces you to reflect on what's working, what's not, and why. This deepens your understanding of yourself and how you operate best. Keeps you adaptable. The world is constantly changing. Being able to adapt your habits and routines is a valuable skill in itself. How to check yourself. Schedule. Regular reviews, maybe once a month or once a quarter. Put it in your calendar. Be honest with yourself. If a habit isn't working, admit it. Don't just cling to it out of stubbornness. Experiment with small changes. You don't always need a complete overhaul. Sometimes a small tweak is all that's needed. Maybe read a different genre of book, try a new type of brain puzzle, or adjust the time of day you do your reflection. Don't be afraid to ditch what's not serving you. It's okay to stop doing something. If it's no longer providing value, or if it's become a source of stress rather than growth. Revisit your goals. Are your habits still supporting your current learning goals? If your goals have changed, your habits might need to change too. This process of regular review and adaptation is what turns a collection of good intentions into a dynamic, evolving system for lifelong learning and growth. It's about being an active manager of your own development, not just a passive follower of a preset plan. So take a look under the hood of your habit engine regularly. Make sure everything is running smoothly and efficiently. Tune it up, make adjustments, and keep that smarter everyday machine humming along. Chapter 25. Key 25. This ain't a fad diet, it's a lifestyle. You'll commit to the journey. Making smarter every day. Your motto means it's ongoing. You don't just become smarter and then stop. That's how to become smarter every day. You just keep doing it. This ain't just an audiobook, it's your new OS. You know those fad diets? The ones where you eat nothing but grapefruit for a week, lose 5 pounds, mostly water, feel miserable, and then immediately go back to your old ways and gain it all back plus interest? Yeah, becoming smarter isn't like that. This isn't a quick fix, a 30-day challenge, or something you do until you reach some imaginary smart finish line. You have to commit to the journey. Making smarter every day. Your motto means it's ongoing. It's a continuous process, a way of approaching life. You don't just become smarter and then stop. Okay, I'm officially smart now. Guess I can go back to watching cat videos exclusively and never reading another book. That's not how it works. That's how to become smarter every day. You just keep doing it. It's about integrating these habits, these ways of thinking, into the very fabric of your daily existence. It's less about a destination and more about the direction you're consistently heading. Think about it. You don't just get fit and then stop exercising, right? You maintain it. You don't just learn a language and then never speak it again or you'll forget it. You don't just build good relationships and then stop putting in the effort. Becoming smarter, cultivating your intellect, sharpening your mind. It's the same deal. It requires consistent, ongoing effort and attention. This ain't just an audiobook or a book if you're old school and reading this on paper. It's designed to be your new OS. Your operating system for how you engage with the world and with your own mind. Why is this lifestyle approach so crucial? Compounding gains. Small, consistent efforts over time lead to massive results. Just like saving a little money regularly can turn into a significant nest egg. Consistently applying these smart habits will compound your intellectual growth over months and years. Adaptability. The world isn't static. New information, new challenges, and new technologies are constantly emerging. A lifelong commitment to learning and thinking critically allows you to adapt and thrive in an ever-changing landscape. Prevents stagnation. If you stop actively engaging your mind, it will, like an unused muscle, begin to atrophy. A commitment to lifelong learning keeps you sharp, curious and mentally agile. It becomes second nature. When these habits become deeply ingrained, they require less conscious effort. They just become what you do. Reading regularly, asking questions, reflecting on experiences. These become automatic parts of your routine. It's fulfilling. There's a deep satisfaction that comes from constantly learning, growing and understanding the world and yourself a little better each day. It's an intrinsically rewarding journey. So how do you make smarter every day your lifestyle? Embrace curiosity as a default setting. Chapter 1. Never assume you know it all. There's always more to learn. Find joy in the process. Learning shouldn't always feel like a chore. Find topics and methods that genuinely engage and excite you. Be patient with yourself. There will be days when you feel less motivated or when progress seems slow. That's normal. Just get back on track. Regularly revisit your why. Why is becoming smarter important to you? Connecting to your deeper motivations can help you stay committed. Celebrate your progress, however small. Acknowledge how far you've come. This isn't about achieving perfection. It's about embracing a mindset of continuous improvement. It's about choosing, day in and day out, to be a little more curious, a little more thoughtful, a little more engaged than you were the day before. So, take these 25 keys, not as a checklist, to be completed, but as a compass to guide your ongoing journey. The quest to become smarter every day is a lifelong adventure, and it's one of the most rewarding adventures you can embark on. Now go live it. Conclusion: your lifelong adventure in not being a dope-so. There you have it. 25 ways to stop being a walking potato. It's not rocket science, is it? It's about consistent small habits that pile up over time, like interest in a bank account, but for your brain. Don't try to do all this at once. You'll just freak out and go back to binging Netflix. Pick a few. Start there. This isn't a punishment. It's about making your life less of a confusing mess, and maybe even a little more awesome. So go on. Embrace being smarter every day, or don't. But then don't come crying to me when you're still trying to figure out how to open a pickle jar. So there you have it. 25 solid gold, no BS keys to stop being a walking, talking potato and start firing on all intellectual cylinders. It's not rocket science, is it? No secret handshakes, no magic beans, no need to sell your soul to some pointy-eared demon for a bigger brain. It's about consistent small habits that pile up over time, like interest in a bank account, but for your brain, a much better investment than that Dogecoin your cousin convinced you to buy. Now, before you get all ambitious and try to implement all 25 of these bad boys by tomorrow morning, take a chill pill. Don't try to do all this at once. You'll just freak out and go back to binging Netflix with a side of existential dread. That's not the goal. Pick a few, maybe 2 or 3 that really resonate with you, that seem like the easiest wins, or that target an area where you know you're slacking. Start there, nail those, make them part of your routine. Then, when you're ready, add another. Slow and steady wins the brain race. Remember, this isn't a punishment. It's about making your life less of a confusing mess and maybe even a little more awesome. It's about feeling more capable, more confident, and more engaged with the world around you. It's about actually understanding things, solving problems, and not being the last one to get the joke. So go on. Embrace being smarter every day. Take these keys, use them, make them your own, or don't, your call. But then don't come crying to me when you're still trying to figure out how to open a pickle jar while everyone else is discussing the socio-economic implications of quantum entanglement. Just saying. And hey, since you made it this far, you're clearly someone who's serious about leveling up. If you want more straight talking, no fluff guides like this one to keep your brain buzzing and your life on an upward trajectory, then do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that button like it owes you money. We're constantly dropping new content designed to make you sharper, savvier, and generally less of a potato. Don't miss out. Check out our other audiobooks. We've got a whole library of wisdom and a bit of snark waiting for you, covering everything you need to master your mind, your habits, and your life. Think of it as a gym membership for your brain, but you don't have to wear Lycra. Unlock the law of attraction, LOA, for your intellect. Okay, maybe not literally LOA in the woo-woo sense, but by consistently feeding your mind good stuff and taking smart actions, you will attract more opportunities, more insights, and a generally more awesome existence. It's cause and effect, baby. Good inputs, good outputs. This is just the beginning of your adventure. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep being awesome. Thanks for listening, you magnificent brainiac in training. Now go make something cool happen. Smart People Habits. 25 Keys to Become Smarter Every Day, written by Peter A. Saul, and published by Audiobooks LOA.